The end of season is here, and everyone is scrambling to get that last drop of LP so they can get gold for the skin or for whatever reason. But I'm sure a lot of you would love a video where we can just give you some really hidden OP champion that can make the end of season climb easy. Well, good news, that's what this video is. Today I'm bringing you one of the most OP, no mechanics required obnoxious picks for top lane that will gift you some of the freest LP you've ever gotten. It counters every meta champion in top right now, like Camille and Fiora, and is never banned, so you don't have to worry about that. Better yet, if you're banning Fiora or Camille, or any other bruiser in top lane right now, you can use your ban on something else now, as you'll practically be begging them to pick those champs. But enough of the hype, let's get into the pick. The free low pick for end of season top lane is Karma. If you don't know, Karma got a small rework with her ult a few patches back, and the first few games I played of her, I thought she was so OP that she would need hotfix nerfs. But nobody played her, and she actually has gotten several buffs since then. But since Karma isn't a very popular champion, and is not even a top laner, I'm going to do a very fast rundown of her abilities so you can understand her kit. Her Q is the projectile she shoots out that does AoE damage and can be blocked by minions. Her W is a two-part tether and root. The first part tethers you to them, and if they don't get out of range, they get rooted. Both parts do damage. Her E is a simple shield, and her ult is where she's different from other champions. Karma has access to her ult at level 1. It has a 40-second cooldown, and basically all it does is, it empowers the next ability she uses, and knowing which ability to use your ult on is crucial to playing her. So for her Q, it makes the ability have a bigger hitbox, slows for more, and does more damage, and after it explodes, has a delayed second explosion that does even more damage. For her W, the root duration is increased, and both parts of the ability heal Karma for 20% of her missing health. The empowered E makes her shield everyone around the target she shielded, and increases the shield amount. Here's the kicker though, her passive is every time she deals damage with an ability, her ult cooldown drops by 5 seconds. This is her reworked passive and is what makes her so insane. So now that you know how Karma works, let me show you how gross this is. In this game, I'm up against a Camille. The most important part of the pick is abusing laning phase, so that's what we're going to look at first, then we'll look at team fights. But at the start of the lane, I was waiting for Camille to show up and I was going to hit her with a mantra Q. Mantra is her ult. You pretty much want to use your mantra whenever it's up, since you can reduce the cooldown so easily now. Camille doesn't show up, so I use Q to grab these minions, and it turns out she was in the brush on my side of the lane for whatever reason, so I auto her and go into the brush to drop minion aggro. Karma Q can be blocked by minions, but since Camille's pretty far away from any minions at the moment, I run up as my Q is coming off cooldown to look for a mantra Q. I throw it to the side of the next wave coming, and look at how disgusting that hitbox is. She wasn't even close to it, and it still hit. Then the slow from the Q guarantees the comment will land as well. After that, it's back to collecting CS while waiting for my Q cooldown. Camille hits me with W here, and on the way out, she tries to hide behind her minions. This is another part of learning Karma. Your Q can be blocked, but it still is AoE after it hits something, so if they're right behind your minions like this, it will still hit them. Landing as many non-empowered Qs as possible is crucial since each one drops the cooldown of your mantra by 5 seconds. But I'm going to hit level 2 next, where I want to level up W second, and you're about to see why. I collect 2 last hits while running at Camille, and once I'm close enough to her, I tether to her with W, which drops my ult to a 5-second cooldown. Then when she gets rooted, it takes off another 5 seconds from my ult, so it's up. And I can follow up the root with a mantra Q. Because she was rooted, the second part of the mantra Q is going to hit her, so she's forced to flash. Pretty gross, right? Wait until you see what Karma is capable of later when she has items. But anyways, I hit Camille with another Q when she walks up the last hit, and then I get ganked by Kayn. Kayn started at our red and is level 3, while I'm only level 2. If I was level 3, this would be really easy to escape. But I first make sure to dodge the Camille E as I'm kiting and waiting for my Q to come back up. I use W on Camille, which drops my ult cooldown from 10 seconds to none, so I can finish her with my mantra Q. Sadly, Kayn flashes on me and still gets me. Either way, I got a lead and the wave is pushing back to me. I don't have to TP back to lane as I won't miss CS, but I do anyways because I don't want to let Camille crash the wave on my tower. I want to bully her as much as possible, so I'm just going to TP back in. She tries to jump on me right away, but I juke her E, and from there, I just get to poke her as much as I want until she's back in her big wave. Sadly, I go for a blind mantra Q and I miss. She's going to roam to the river fight now, but I can't help that, so I just hold the freeze and focus on thinning the wave out by using Q on the backline. If the wave is too big, I can't actually bully the Camille, so that's why I have to thin it. Also, because that one minion ran at me and blocked my Q, I use E to tank some of the damage and drag the wave up to prevent it from hitting the tower. As I'm doing that, Camille tries to hit me with her E, and she's in the middle of all the minions, which is perfect, so I use mantra Q in the center, and you can see where I aim it with my mouse. Sadly, the minion in front of me just barely clips my Q, but it still hits Camille, so it's fine. If it hit where I wanted, it would have hit all 5 of those range minions and killed them, which is what I wanted. But after using Q, now I follow up with my W, and look at my ult cooldown, it went from 40 seconds to 12, just from using my Q and W. So from here, I just run Camille down, and get right next to her so I can't miss my next Q, and finish her with mantra W. When I get back to base, the first thing I buy is cooldown shoes. That's what the entire build is based around, CDR. When I get back to lane, I have blue buff from killing Camille, 5 ability haste from Transcendence, 1 stack of Ultimate Hunter, and CDR shoes. This drops my ult from a 40-second cooldown to 28. So I throw my Mantra Q at Camille and making sure to avoid hitting minions here, and look at the damage. With only the first part of my Q hitting, my ult is down to a 20-second cooldown. Then before the trade is done, I quickly tag Camille with the first part of my W just to drop my ult cooldown by another 5 seconds. I don't want to try and hit the second part here since her wave is pretty big. I collect some last hits while waiting for cooldowns, especially after I didn't connect with the last Q I used. I hit level 6 though, and immediately go in pressuring Camille with autos, trying to get her to jump at me with her E. The reason I want her to use E is because if I use W first, she can just E out of the second part. But if I wait for her to jump on me like this, now she's dead as she has no escape. I started with W here, but I should have started with Mantra Q, then W for my ult cooldown. But it didn't matter either way since I could kill her in one rotation like this. Something small but important I did here though, was right before the second part of my W went off to root her, I activated my mantra, which dropped 5 seconds off the cooldown before I threw the Q. And after killing her, without even getting the 5 seconds from the first part of my W, my ult cooldown was already down to 8 seconds. So if I used Mantra Q before W, it would have basically been completely reset. And I don't even have any big items yet. For this next clip, I'm going to show you a situation where I don't use Mantra on my Q and use it on my W instead. Like I said, learning what ability to use Mantra on is very important for karma. So I don't recall after the last kill on Camille and just work on tower plates. When she gets back, she jumps on me and actually connects with her E. So I use W, then when she's rooted, run up to avoid her W and use Mantra Q for the poke. I'm pretty low health now though, but I want to use it to bait the Camille into jumping in. I need my ult to come up though, so after I clear the wave, I back out of vision for a bit, and then I try to hit Camille with Q, but I don't connect, and she jumps in with E. Alright, so I have 5 seconds on my ult here, but I could just use the first part of my W to drop it. But I actually want the empowered W because I'm low health. I know the first thing she'll do is use her W, so I save my shield for that and keep running. If I turn and try to use Q here, Camille will be close enough to hit me, so I just run a straight line until my W and Mantra are back up. As soon as it's up, I use Mantra W, which gives me a nice chunk of health, then hit her with Q, which I should have thrown after her passive shield went off. But then the second part of my W pops and heals me for another 200. I poke her with some autos and miss my Q, then start running while waiting for my Mantra to come up again. If I landed my Q a few seconds ago, my Mantra would already be back up. But I dodge her W and kite long enough for my ult to come back, and do the same thing as last time using my Mantra W for the double heal. Even though Camille jumped on me, I ended up having more health than I started with after the trade is done, and I kill her again. As you can see, this is a really obnoxious pick. But basically, you'll pretty much always use either Mantra Q or W. You won't really use E. Mantra Q will be used the most, but in situations like this where you're low, you can use W. Remember the heal from Mantra W is 20% missing health, so if you use it at a high health, it won't heal much. Now let's talk about how you play after laning phase. You want to keep pushing your lead in side lane just like any other top laner, but if you think you can win a team fight, push your side wave and rotate to the fight. In this particular game, I'm basically my entire team, so I just stay in side lane and I'm working on the tier 2 bot tower. After grabbing it, the enemy Kayn and Akali show up, and both are very fed right now. My Kha'Zix is level 13, the enemy Akali and Kayn are level 15, so this will be a tough fight. The first thing I do is run up and W Akali. This reveals her in her shroud and will reset my ult cooldown. Sadly, my Mantra Q misses since she used Hourglass, but I run her down since I knew she had no way of getting over Krug's wall after she just used her E. Then, as I go to chase Kayn, he hits me over the wall with his W, so I start kiting and use my Mantra Q as I still have plenty of health. After using the first part of my W on Jhin, my ult is already back up, so I hit him with Mantra Q and it kills him. And would you look at that, my ult is up again. Killing Kayn will take a year, so when Zyra shows up I use Mantra Q on her instead, then accidentally Hourglass before using Q. I wanted to throw Q then Hourglass. Now that I'm kind of low, this is where I decided to use Mantra W on the Kayn, and when my Mantra W pops, my ult is up. So yeah, at this point in the game, my ult is almost always up. It's pretty crazy. But I use 2 Mantra Qs to finish off the Kayn, then get greedy and don't use Flash to finish off Zyra. I was just waiting for Mantra Q, but I should have just used Flash. Luckily, she comes back at me and gives me the kill. Alright, to wrap things up, let's talk about runes, items, and skill order. You want to max Q first, then E, then W. You can max W second, but I like E for the extra survivability over the damage W gives you. For runes, this is the page. You can swap Cheap Shot to Taste of Blood for range matchups if you need it. For items, against squishy champions, go Ludens, against tanky ones, go Liandry's. Everfrost can work too, but I prefer the other ones more. Always buy cooldown shoes, and second item would be either Hourglass or Cosmic Drive. Cosmic Drive is the preferred second item, but sometimes you need the Hourglass because they have high AD burst damage. Then after those, you just grab a Void or Death Cap, depending on how much MR they have, or Banshees if you really need the shield or the MR. And if you have room, a Morello's, since every champion has so much healing, it's rare you won't need it.
Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $4.99 a month if you are serious about improving.
Alright guys, so that's my free ELO pick for top lane for the end of the season. I hope it gets you to the rank you're trying to get before the season is over. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.